Okay, so once it's done, they'll stand on attention until the pledge. Okay? Once the pledge is done, you don't sit the audience until the so that's Kevin here. You're going to be next to him.
seated, Gail will come up and
Huh?
while we're seated, Gail will come up and do the invitation.
Yeah, we can remain, in the past we remained standing till, the same with the, have the commanders still stand at attention, okay? And the audience until we do the invitation. And then after the invitation, I would have to be seated. Okay? Then we can.
Testing, testing, testing.
I was trying to change all of it, I didn't realize, because we don't want people standing for that whole thing, and normally our seniors would be ringing the bell. But for the invitation, I would leave the commanders standing. After the invitation, I would say commanders be seated, and audience may be seated too. Okay? After the invitation.
After the invitation.
Yeah. That's when the honor guard's gonna come in, we're gonna come around, they'll post their colors, okay? Honor guard marches in and posts colors.
Right.
Okay? They stay in that position at attention until you say, you see the last card, Craig, and lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Sorry, I'll just double check
We'll
here.
turn around and face the flag, okay, from the table. Your color guard will give a salute, okay? And they'll leave on their own, so you let them leave, okay? Prior to asking Gail to come up and give the invitation. And actually, you can read it. You can read it. It's easier instead of having to do something. The audience and the commander stand and do the invitation. They're gonna be standing. Color guards, the pledge of allegiance. Everybody be standing for the invitation. Okay. After the invocation, okay, so not before, yeah, wait till they leave, but after the invocation, have the audience. Excellent, all right.
Tiny, I lost some train of thought.
Okay, so after the invitation, okay, we're gonna have the audience standing, the commander standing over there, okay? After the invitation, we're going to have the audience sit, we're gonna say first, commanders may be seated, and audience also, okay? The only thing that we want everybody standing for is the pledge of allegiance and the invocation. Okay. And then after that, you're gonna give this and to the audience.
After the invitation.
After the
look at your agenda, okay? Not to give you up, but I think you want to ask Commander Jansen ahead of me, okay? He's the ranking Coast Guard person in here. There you go. And then it'll be me. Just keeping in protocol.
You know, looks like it's not going to help me. Let's see if it works. We're online. We're live right now. So. Is it okay if I shoot the company back here? I know where they're going. I just yeah. Yep. Or I can be loud, yeah.
Do I have to turn this on too?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you find your seats, please.
Yes, I do.
Until you have it quiet, they can't hear the overhead sound.
You need to get your, yeah, hey, there you go.
I think it's supposed to be in your range this time. Tiny's in front. You be in front of me. That's fine.
I didn't expect such easy compliance. You do have a few more minutes.
Hey, Darren, let them know that Neil's coming to visit us back.
It's a live mic. Would everyone please take their seat? Audience, please stand and come to attention.
Division, your colors. Honor Guard, post the colors.
Please follow me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. March.
Gail, will you please lead us in pledge of, or invocation?
Please bow your heads while I pray. Gracious God, thank you for this display of patriotism and this display of excitement about our country, and especially excitement and commitment to our Coast Guard. Lord God, I thank you for what we are able to do to assist the Coast Guard in their enormous mission for our country, Lord God, that is so almost seamless. People a lot of times don't even notice it. But Lord, we do, and we do our best to assist them. I thank you for all those who are present and all those who wanted to be here who are not, that we can make the decisions and plans for the future and for the future of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary. It is in your name I pray. Amen.
Commanders may be seated. Audience.
You need this?
Yes. Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here this morning. If you're like me, it's not an easy task, and so it's very much appreciated to be here bright and early and ready for our meeting. We'll please call the roll call.
Here.
Mr. Chief of Staff,
Here.
Director of Auxiliary. Deputy National Counsel. Here. District Captain East.
Here.
District Captain South.
Present.
District Captain North.
Here.
President of the Past Commanders Association.
Ms. Debian for the
Division Commander, Division 1. Here. Division 2.
Here.
Division 3 is myself. Division 4. Division 5.
Here.
Division 6.
Here.
Division 7. Division 8.
Here.
Division 10. Division 11. Here. Commodore, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Commodore Weimer and Mr. Emborn, would you please do the crossing of law?
Division 1, crossing the bar, any members? James Franklin Neff, joined 2007, passed away spring 2023. Commercial fishing, towing, and shooting, T-bone staff. Division 2, 2 members, Charlene and Alan. Division 3.
None to report.
Division 5. None to report. Division 6.
Dennis Hines, Will Green, Dick Swimingham.
Division 7.
Steve Slider, Les Swinsky.
Division 8. Leroy Gamble, Rob Matthews. Division 10. Nothing to report. Division 11. Nothing to report.
Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me. And may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam. When that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark. And may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. That though from out of our bourne of time and place, the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Completed the mission.
Thank you, John. All right, we're going to start off right from the top for a good morning here, and I'm going to ask Commander Jansen if he can give some remarks.
Good morning. It's great to be here and seeing some old faces as well as some new ones. Since the last time we met, we've had some personnel changes. We welcome aboard Admiral Charles Fossey as our new district commander and Captain Holly Harrison as our new district chief of staff. Bosun Robinson is now on terminal leave, and his retirement will be the end of November. With one Robinson leaving, we do have another Robinson entering, though. His son, Reese, completed boot camp last month and is currently stationed here in the district aboard Coast Guard Cutter Steadfast. That's exciting. And since he's gone, I just want to thank everybody for the OTO support. I've never been a boat crew member or a coxswain or really done anything with small boats in my professional career. So it's a whole new world for me, and I appreciate all the help and patience from everybody on that. On my way down here, I was participating in the BSX call with headquarters, and they have some things to pass here. As far as reimbursement for orders, the 15th of October is when FSMS and Oxdata 2 connect, and all the lines of accounting are in there. So if you do get underway on a patrol prior to the 15th, don't expect to get reimbursed until a few days after that, once all the finances line up. For this year, for FY '24, there will be a 30% reduction in C schools. The new training officer up there at headquarters is looking at what C schools are going to be the priority. The number one priority is going to be those schools that are required for certifications and that sort of thing. And then after that, he's going to kind of triage everything else to try to get the most benefit and making those strategic cuts. There's also a new background check process, both for annual and initial new members. It's a challenge. The new system takes much longer than the old system. So particularly on the new member front, if you do have any new members, I just ask that you be patient while the background checks occur. It's going to take longer than it has in the past. But we don't want to exclude them, so if your laws and your flotillas allow having them come on as a guest and observe, but while the process starts to take place, it's going to be definitely a learning process for everybody. Finally, if you have paid attention to the news or read anything, there's most likely heading towards government shutdown, perhaps. I think a lot of people here were in the auxiliary for the last one. If it happens again this year, at the end of the month, there will be all coast sent out, as well as an all ox detailing what you can and can't do as an organization during the shutdown. And that's really the big things from the call. Headquarters really knows how to brighten up a room, so that's good. You know, without taking a lot of the thunder away from everybody else who's going to speak today, I just want to say that after all the meetings we had yesterday, I can tell you that your leadership team is excited, passionate, and they've set a good course for the next 6 months and beyond. I'm really excited to hear what everyone's going to say and the direction that everything's going. I'll defer all the good things for them to pass. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
So, yes, he passed over Diego. His boat shows it. Tidy. And he's above Commander?
No, he's not. Okay. All right. Our Dineco and Media Pass DCO, Tiny Singlet, please.
Well, I just have a little to say, okay? Not much. I won't do that to you. It was great yesterday seeing everybody, and even Friday night or Thursday night, I went to flotilla meeting. I saw Carol there, and of course Darren and John and stuff, but it was nice being there. A young man, one of our youngest people that I think we have in the district has also joined the Coast Guard at the same time, but man, what he has accomplished in a short period of time. And he got up and he said, I'm so glad to be part of this and everything. And only thing I blurted out was, please remember that a couple of years from now when you're a little higher up, okay? But no, just a couple of things. You know, yesterday,
And I think you've heard me say it before, when you hear the buzz, it means everybody is really having a good time, and it was good seeing each other. And I felt that buzz going on. And we just need to continue that. You know, shut down, as the commander said, it can happen. If it happens, it's like they have, we've dealt with it before, and we just have to get through it. Hopefully, some people get their senses and it doesn't happen. Just a couple of things just from the national side is that one thing is we have a brand new youth education toolkit that's out. It's on the public education website. It even gives you introduction letters to get into the schools and stuff from being elementary, junior high, or high school, okay? And I would definitely remember, if you do the high school, ask them to join too, because they're going to be close to that age, all right? And I'm going to give you another thing that I've told everybody, and I even told them at D11 North last Saturday, is they were talking about recruiting and that and PA and stuff, and I said, when's the last time you asked your neighbor to join? If you hadn't pestered them where they don't want to see you coming, you hadn't asked, okay? So anyway, also too, we have trying to get paddlecraft really going. We went in as the RBS group and got a grant. We asked for $170,000, we got $105,000. A big portion of that money is where we can have teams come to help try to get it kicked off in every district, okay? So keep that in mind in the future. I've talked to the leadership here too. But that's not only for a float, that's for a shore also, because we have to reach out to that community. That's where the biggest fatalities are. As a trend, if you take 2021 coming out of COVID, not as bad as 2020, but the interesting thing is because when we started getting back out there, the total number of deaths went down by 114, okay? But the paddlecraft fatalities went up by 14%, okay? So they didn't stop, they went higher, it's just the powercraft went down. But, you know, just also too, in order to try to fulfill the positions that the Coast Guard, so just a quick second, everybody knows that the Coast Guard right now is roughly 4,000 people behind in their recruiting, okay? So, you know, they had two choices, either lower their standards, okay? They raised the age for the minimum age, but lower their standards, or do you take X amount of those positions and try to push it our way? And so that's their thinking, because they don't want to lower their standards, which I'm glad to hear, because I've always said, ever since I was a watchstander the first 9 years, that I never met a group of young men and women that were so dadgum nice, and how did they get them and hire them and get them into the service, because it wasn't always the way in every service. But anyway, just know that we're looking at, so what they're doing is they're digitizing or making it electronic the request for forces. So when there's a position that the Coast Guard needs filled, it's going to go out electronically. They're also redoing our skills banks so that can all be part of the system. I watched it work, and it even goes through AD2, and it's tremendous. But what does that mean to us? Well, it's going to mean what training do we need to get our members involved with. And so this is going to help fulfill some of those positions. I do want to add in there, just so we know, ALOC cards and a lot of these positions, if they're permanent, will require an ALOC card. They may require an ALOC card even for the temporary, but there's going to have to be a workaround, because there will not be any ALOC cards just given out, okay? It has to be a position that's signed off by the Coast Guard by a unit. They're the one requesting it, okay? So that we just all have that in our mind. But there's many things that are open up, marine safety, there's some areas opening up, there's some
things that are being worked on throughout our district, other districts, where we're trying to get our members to do the training and be certified to do the training. And then we can then coordinate with the Coast Guard to get the letters from the port and everything. So this is in the near future, okay? Everybody should know, I think if you don't, the Form 7000 for meeting minutes started September the 1st, okay? Just keep that in mind, please use it. There's a set of instructions went out on it. If you call me on it, I'll say hi, and then I'll ask you to call somebody else, but I will help every which way I can, okay? A good thing, the BQC2 courses are being developed right now to where we will be able to give them in person, okay, and actually have a classroom setting on it. We know we bring in a lot of people that may not be totally computer literate or even partially computer literate, okay? So there is not only the courses put there, but a test to go at the end so that you can administer the test too. And then you will be able to sign off on them as any type of educational class, 70-30 or whatever it may be, okay? We're going to get into uniform inspections. You'll see the stuff on it pretty soon where it'll have to be signed off on. But just please remember, when you look at that, it goes back to our problems when, I'll never forget, I was acting in 2019, and there was 2 or 3 3-stars sitting up there, and they were talking about taking us out of the uniforms and putting us into khaki pants and a polo shirt, okay? And we basically talked them out of doing that. That's the reason the alternative work uniform came up from some of our heavier set ones, which I'm most probably getting close to, but but anyway, remember that's the reasons, and we should have already been watching our people. Dirty uniforms don't fit, shirt tails hanging out. ODUs look like they hadn't been washed in 15 years, okay? These are normal stuff as a military person that we think of, gig lines, other items, okay? We have a lot of members now that were non-military, which we love. You bring a set of skill sets into it, that entire organization, that is fantastic, and we're going to be utilized more and more. We have a couple of virtual flotillas. We have the Chaplain Flotilla, and we have the Cyber. We're not doing any more as of now, and we want to see how those go and stuff, and we don't want to swing that way, but we have an onboarding task force. We're looking at, I'm part of that task group, let's call it that, not force, but we're looking at if we have somebody that just got out of the Coast Guard, or we have a chaplain or a medical person coming in, are they ever going to do anything else? What can we do to try to close that gap there and not make them wait so long to try to, whoops, through, no, and make them get through all this process. What comes out of it, I can't guarantee you. My thing is that everybody's equal on a basis. So part of my argument is that it's unfair to one person if we don't have them do something unless they're just in that medical field or something like that. But we hadn't reached a conclusion on it, but I'd rather alert you to it than all of a sudden one day say, that such and such didn't say a thing about it, okay? Other than that, man, I hope you have a great time, great training today. I was really impressed with yesterday, I really was. There's a lot of great things going in our district. It's you. It's not the leadership, it's where the wheels meet the road is at the flotilla level. And to me, I'll tell you what I tell everybody, I think the flotilla is part of the community. And we owe our communities to keep them safe, at least recreational boating wise, okay? And I'll leave with the thing that we have 2 clients. We have the recreational boating public, and we have the United States Coast Guard, and that's the ones we're here to take care of them. Thank you.
Well, we're having quite a year, don't you think? I think it's good. We're really seeing that we've been on the rise to obtain or surpass the pre-pandemic service levels, and it's really encouraging, and I want to keep that going. We're making great progress on the District 13 operational plan. And speaking of the operational plan, just a reminder that it does include the District 13 mission and vision that we all should be familiar with. Our mission being to promote and improve recreational boating safety, to provide a diverse array of specialized skills, trained crews, and capable facilities to augment the Coast Guard and enhance safety and security of our ports, waterways, and coastal regions. And number 3, to support the Coast Guard operational, administrative, and logistical requirements. Our vision to be the best trained, most valuable maritime volunteer organization in the world, highly efficient during normal operations and ready for emergencies. The 3 critical areas that we've been working on and we want to continue to focus on: recruitment and retention of our members, strong and effective organizational communications, and comprehensive training in the many aspects of the auxiliary membership, leadership, and management. And speaking of training, we have some really good stuff going on today. We have for coxswains on ENC charts, electronic navigational charts, and training on Oxdata 2 and quick stop reports. So this is all good stuff, and I really recommend you take advantage of it, and I think it will be very interesting. Just finally, I'd like to say that I believe 2023 is going to continue to be good, to be great, to be fun, and we'll have a fun year as we serve the Coast Guard and the recreational boating public. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Sturr, which is going to conduct our elections.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the District 13 elections. I'm John Stewart, and I'll be the presiding officer today for the elections for the DCAP officers. The elections are going to be governed by our standing rules, and one of them is that we have to have a quorum, and our secretary reported we have a quorum, so we're good there. We have a teller committee sitting in the front row here. Our head teller is Carol Bobo, and then Jenny Shea and Ephraim Krischer are other members of the teller committee. All candidates for today's election have been vetted, and they meet the requirements to run for the DCAP offices. So I'm not going to read all the standing rules about today's election, but if I have to circle back and do so, I will, but so far we only have 1 candidate per office, so I'm going to spare the time of reading what happens if we have more than 1 candidate. So I'll do that if necessary. In the standing rules, 7.3, prior to opening the balloting for election of each district officer, the presiding officer shall invite nominations by any voting member from the floor. The nominator, prior to making the nomination from the floor, is responsible for ascertaining the eligibility and willingness of the nominee to accept the office and fulfill its duties if ultimately elected. No second shall be required for a nomination from the floor. Self-nomination is not allowed. Candidates nominated from the floor must be present for the election and must firmly state that they accept the nomination and will serve if elected. The presiding officer shall accept all eligible nominations from the floor and name of each such nominee from the floor shall be added to the balloting for such elected office. For purpose of the election provisions in the rules, the term floor shall include only incumbent district board members. If a majority of eligible board members vote for a candidate, that majority is sufficient to elect the candidate for the office. I'm going to leave it at that for now. And the first election we're going to have today is for DCAP East. And the only member submitting a name was Doug Harris. And I'll ask Doug in a minute if he has any comments, but before we do that, are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP East? I'm okay. Are there any nominations on the floor for DCAP East? One last time, are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP East? Hearing none, we have one candidate. And Doug Harris is the candidate. Would you like to say some comments before the election? No. That was short and sweet. Okay. For this election, the eligible voters are DCO, DCOS, immediate past DCO, DCAP East, Director of the Auxiliary Division 8, 10, and 11 commanders. Okay, in the case of an unopposed election pursuant to Oxman, voting will be by acclamation unless a voting member demands a secret ballot. Does any voting member demand a secret ballot? Hearing none, all in favor that Doug is elected DCAP East, say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Doug. Next, we'll have elections for DCAP North. And the only candidate submitted was Klaus Niehaus. Are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP North? Are there any nominations from the floor from DCAP North? Are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP North? Hearing none, we only have one candidate for DCAP North. Klaus, do you want to make any comments before the election?
I'll forego the opportunity, sir.
Okay. Eligible voters for DCAP North, DCO, DCOS, immediate past DCO, DCAP North, Director of the Auxiliary, Division Commanders for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is unopposed again, the same by acclamation. Does anybody require a secret ballot? Hearing none, all in favor that Klaus to be elected DCAP North, say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Klaus. Last but not least, DCAP South. We have one name submitted for DCAP South. It's Ron Hilberger. Are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP South? Are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP South? Are there any nominations from the floor for DCAP South? Hearing none, we've got one candidate. Ron, would you like to make some comments before the election?
Sure, I'll make it. I'll take the time allotted from I only have 10 pages. Commander Jansen, Commodore Keenley, Commodore Singler, and Chief of Staff Hartman, and distinguished District 13 board members. It's an honor and a privilege to stand before you this morning for consideration as District Captain South. As the ASC Sector Columbia River for the past several years, I've had the privilege of working and getting to know many of you in Divisions 6 and 7, and coming to know more of you guys in Division 5. Now, especially since Division 5 is part of Sector Columbia River. But let me begin by providing you just a little bit of my background, since you know the other two district captains, and many of you don't know me. I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado. Never heard of the Coast Guard. In fact, the body of water that was nearest myself was the Platte River, and I lived on Cherry Creek, which is even smaller than that. So I served in the U.S. Army from 1965 to 66 and was given a medical discharge for a lacerated hand. Enjoyed my time in the Army, however, though. Returned home, studied radiology and nuclear medicine at the Community College of Denver and the University of Colorado. Graduated, took my boards, and moved to Portland in 1971. For the next 36 years, I worked for 3 hospital systems in the Portland area, primarily the Providence Medical System, which I was the technical director and the radiation safety officer. So retiring my retirement in 2007, I fished my whole life, but I really loved fishing and I really took advantage of that. But I got tired of fishing, and I happened to be on the Ilwaco docks and met an auxiliarist who talked me into joining the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and of course the rest is history. So during my tenure as an auxiliarist, my primary interest had been involved in boat operations, as a crew and coxswain, commercial fishing examinations, and vessel examinations. Today, I've had the privilege of examining 577 commercial fishing vessels and providing AMSI classes. Now, AMSI is the Alaska Maritime Safety Educational and Association, which we teach fishermen how, hopefully, not to die on the water, and as a drill instructor for that class. During the past several years, it's been my privilege to serve as your auxiliary sector coordinator again for Columbia River, a position in which I've had the opportunity of working again closely with the Commodores, 6 of them, 7 sector commanders, 5 liaison officers, and senior leadership from the sector, acting as communication bridge between the Commodore and the active duty. So the primary person I've worked with during this time period is the liaison officer. He also is the deputy law enforcement officer for the sector. And that person is Chris Saylor. He'll be here this afternoon, or tonight, I should say, at dinner. So many of you, if you have an opportunity, please greet him and talk to him. A couple of years ago, Commander Singler and OTO Robinson asked if I would assume the task of Chief Qualification Examiner Coordination for District 13. Again, a position which has afforded me an opportunity to become acquainted with many more of our membership throughout the district, including the OTO and DIROC's Commander Jansen. I believe my positions as ASC and CQEC have laid a strong background for me to provide leadership for the Southern District of District 13. I envision our area, District of the South, as an area where we work in harmony with each other, following the chain of leadership and management and Coast Guard core values of honor, respect, and devotion to duty. Each of you have joined the Coast Guard Auxiliary for a personal reason and purpose. I would only ask that you accomplish that purpose, keeping the core values of the Coast Guard in mind. Do the job. Please keep the personality of members out of it. I will close by paraphrasing the guiding principles provided by Captain Nalgo, Sector Commander of Columbia River. People first. So prioritize a supportive and inclusive environment where everyone can thrive. Just kind of covered that. Unity of effort. Work together toward a common goal, leverage our diverse strength, foster a culture of teamwork. Again, the same theme. Innovation. Embrace change, seek new and better ways to achieve our objectives. I think we should view failure as an opportunity for learning and for growth. Resilience. Foster mental, physical, spiritual resilience. Ask for help when needed and help others when they need help. And balance. Strive for a balance between your work and personal life. We are volunteers in the auxiliary, but we have taken a sacred oath, and with that oath, complete the task that you have volunteered for. I thank you for your time.
Ron's almost elected. And the eligible voters for DCAP South, there's the DCO, DCOS, immediate past DCO, DCAP South, Director of Auxiliary, and Division Commanders for 5, 6, and 7. Since this is an unopposed election, voting will be by acclamation. Does any member of the board require a secret ballot? Hearing none, all in favor that Ron is to be elected as DCAP South, say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Ron. It's official now. At this time, I'll ask our legal representative if the election was run according to the Oxman and District 13 standing rules.
The election was conducted according to the Oxman and District 13 standing rules.
Thank you, sir. This concludes the elections, and I turn the floor back to the Commodore Keenly.
All right. Looks like we are scheduled for a break, so let's take 10 minutes to stretch and get ready for the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for mentioning that new class we have out there. Schools. Yeah. And getting going. I tell you. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Oh, I know.
Hi, I just want to introduce you to Kathy Zilstra. She's she's working on a relationship with the tribes in our area. So she's with legal goals.
right here, put in here, new business and.
Yes, sir.
And have all three decaps, no, have our new decap, the newest one come up here, and so I'd be glad to do it with you.
All right, outstanding. Thank you, sir.
Actually, you and I are finance.
Okay. Okay, we want to do that when now, Tiny? Again?
So, yeah, we're getting up. She would like to TCT. We just needed an addition to, I don't know if you are interested in having Mary on that team.
Well, that's not my decision.
But you can make the recommendation.
That would probably come from the other side, so.
Right, but if you forward that, that would be great. All right, so what you would do is send him an email that says, I'm interested in some of my qualifications. This is where actually the need is. He can then forward it to him, and then send it to the
When I was
Years or whatever.
It's very good. So because of the crowds there, you can't see it as much as you do. Especially during the shoot, you see this wide screen and watch. You will hear playing. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Yeah. Don't make noise.
Ask her.
And my shelf life is, prompter expiring.
Yes, yes.
You can't retire anytime soon.
Yeah, look stern.
Let's see, the fear of leadership.
Are we having fun yet? It looked great.
All right, if everybody will have their seat, please.
Ladies and gentlemen. Until you get their attention, right? Yeah, they still start to work.
All right. I'll call the meeting back to order. And it's time for our division reports, starting with Division 1, please. What's that? Oh, sorry.
Want to speak to your or?
Up to you.
Up here, please, so that it goes out loud.
Up here.
Forgive me, I don't have a printed report. I attempted to print it this morning at the business office, and it converted it to a local dialect of Salish, so I was unable to share it with you. But this is basically a health status report of Division 1. Right now, we have approximately 140 members. And that's 2 more than we had at the beginning of the year. We have 3 flotillas, 1-1, 1-2, and 1-8. Our membership stands in 1-1 at approximately 48, at 1-2, 59, and at 1-8, about 35. Our ratings right now, we have in the division 4 coxswain, 26 crew, 18 instructors, and 20 VEs. In facilities, we have six boats, 1 boat with Division 1-1, 1 boat with Division, Flotilla 1-1, 1 boat with Flotilla, or 3 boats with Flotilla 1-2, and one boat with Flotilla 1-8. And we have approximately 3 radio facilities. Our due cycle is underway. All flotillas are reporting approximately 50% renewals at this time. And our 7035 cycle is to commence. A couple of observations. In Flotilla 1-1, the current flotilla commander is standing for re-election without a VFC, and this will be her 3rd year. At Flotilla 1-2, our flotilla commander is standing down after 2 years, and our VFC is standing for flotilla commander. At Flotilla 1-8, the flotilla commander is standing for a 2nd year. At division level, myself and my VCDR are standing for a 2nd year. Staffing, at Flotilla 1-1, staffing support is short. At Flotilla 1-2, staffing is satisfactory. Flotilla 1-3, staffing is satisfactory. At division level, I am currently short a SR, a VE, a PA, and a PE, and my finance officer is kind of off and on right now. As far as programming goes, we have good activities at member training, good activities at public education, and good activities at vessel exams. Operations have been conducted at all 3 flotilla. Operationally, the flotilla is, the division is working satisfactorily. Our issues are membership growth, leadership growth, staffing growth. We had a problem with VE stickers. We were unable to get additional VE stickers to support our VE program. There was some question about the alternate uniforms. Some questions about PPE reporting. Some questions about communications up the chain of command. And we were wondering about the emergency response plan for the sector. And that's my report.
Thank you. All right, Division 2. Thank you, sir. As we all know, this has been an interesting challenge coming out of COVID to reactivate all of our members to do something. I did something that was kind of scary for me. I looked at what did I say in 2016, and I looked at my numbers, and I said, this is a different situation today than what we had in 2016. We have gone through a lot of challenges, so we're rebuilding momentum. One of the things I look at is the health of our memberships. Is each member in the flotilla, in the division, a recruiter? And where is it coming from? So when I ran the numbers for this year, last year when I had to stand up here in February, I had to talk about how many members we lost. That was not a fun conversation. So this year, when I ran the numbers, I was shocked. I shouldn't have been shocked, but I want to say a thanks for the recruiting efforts of our HR officers, starting with Carol. Okay, Carol and I talk and this and that. The other person who's not here is Bev Hannibal. She gets all of the AMIS leads, okay? And so I get a report from Carol every month of where the leads come from and what have you. Then I looked at the next level down to the division and who's our HR officer for division. Heidi, 2 years ago, she was elected the D13 Auxiliarist of the Year. I can't tell you how hard she works on recruiting. The other one is, in my particular division, I have Maria Detweiler, who's been in the auxiliary about as long as I have. She's been through a lot of different things. She came back in after several personal episodes with cancer, coming back and coming back and coming back. And she said, I want to get active again. Wow, okay? We talked yesterday a lot about personal trainers, as Tiny calls it, or mentors. The other person that I want to thank is Deborah Alderman for Flotilla 25. When I look at the struggles, and was a member when I first joined the Flotilla 25, so I'm very familiar with it. So what happened? In our division, our numbers went up 14% this year. We're up to 108 members as of the end of August. So you have no idea what a difference it makes to stand up here today to say, hey, we did our job, okay? The other one that I'm concerned about, and we set some goals trying to match Dan's operations plan. And we all have the same challenge. How many of us have members that never put any time in Ox data? I hear it every place I go. I've got it at every level in every flotilla. So I looked at this thing beforehand and I said, I got to get a handle on this. So I want to give a lot of thanks to John Sturr, because I talk to him on a pretty regular basis. And he does magic with Ox Data 2 reports. I'm learning, and I'm going to be in his class this afternoon, and every time I'm in his class, I learn something. So I said, John, I got to get some numbers for this talk. So he ran a report for me that I want to know every member that put time in Ox Data 2 this year. He said, Jim, I want to do better than that for you. Let's compare this year to last year to 2 years ago. And then you can look down the thing and you can see, I got some members that did a lot of stuff 2 years ago, did some good stuff last year, 0 time this year. So out of that, we've got 64% of our members this year that have put time in Ox Data 2. Our goal was 75%. So next February at this meeting, I hope that we can come back and say we made 75%. So John, thanks for running the report for me, okay? Vessel exams, we all know about that. I looked at the numbers compared to what we did in 2016. They're on different planets. I have to accept that, okay? So we've got a superstar. He's here someplace. I lost him. Dale Vodicka. He was Auxiliarist of the Year, right there. Auxiliarist of the Year last year because of what he did. Dale Vodicka is my vice for Division 2. And he still, when he got that award last year, it turned a spark plug on him, and he's running on an extra cylinder because he did an outstanding job this year. So thank you, Dale, for what you're doing. We got 156 vessel exams, 100 passed, 79 first time, 32 high focus. Like everybody else said, and like Tiny said, where we're missing the mark is on paddlecraft. That one we tried to rebuild it, we got to do that. The other one is, as long as I've been in auxiliary, program visits. I kid with people, as long as I've been in auxiliary, I know who the #1 person is in Division 2 for program visits each year, Jim Enborn. This year I had some challenges, personal challenges, so I'm way off. And I looked at this number and there's nothing to talk about at this point. I tell people I love to go out and visit marinas and put the literature out there and talk and build relationships. So we'll move on for a sec. The other thing we've talked about is, and we talked about it yesterday, is awards and recognition for our members. At every flotilla meeting and every division meeting, definitely at the division meetings, I recognized every single member that did something educational-wise. Henry Phillips, I owe you a big thanks, okay? Because every time somebody passes a course, I get an email. And I put it in my folder for that division meeting, and they are recognized formally in a PowerPoint and a certificate of appreciation. So without that feed from Henry, I'd have a hard time doing my job. So thank you, Henry. The other one is interesting, and you heard the challenges today from Dan, the D13 operations plan. And we looked at it last year in our division meeting. We're going to revisit it again this year of what of those goals can we accomplish? Because based on our skill sets, we have to fine tune it based on what we can do with the people that we've got. When I looked at what we did in 2016, I have a different group of people, a different environment. So we have to tune it down quite a bit. So we're going to have to go back in and say, Dan, Division 2, this is what we can deliver. So I always like to do bottom-up budgeting of what I can deliver and see if it matches from the top down and then strike a compromise that I've had to do in the business world. Okay? The other one is interesting. As the logistics officer at the D13 ever, I'm responsible for diversity, and I have some people that do that. Jeff Hunter's done that. So I looked at this thing and I said, okay, and last year, Ephraim was very pushy to get it done, Jim. Get it done, Jim. Don't give me answers that you can't do it. So I looked at this thing and I said, okay. We got 3 flotillas in our division with different skill sets. And we had a board meeting and we looked at, my goal was to have each flotilla qualify for the NACON 3-star award. And in that board meeting, every flotilla commander said, I can't qualify for all of them. So what we did, we took a different approach. I said, well, let's look at it if we can do it at the division level and have the contributions from each flotilla add up to what it's required for the division level. So we did a lot of spade work of saying, well, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? And we pulled it together in a stack of papers. It was about this high that I went through and looked at it, and we put it together. So it was a team effort of each flotilla commander getting the job done to get it, and we got the award this year for it. So I'm very thankful for that. Okay. Coming out of the pandemic, with not being able to meet in person is a challenge for many of us. I'm a person. I like to meet people, shake hands, do all that good kind of stuff. I looked at how are we going to get in-person classes going again. It's a real hard challenge. I look at the differences of the interaction of an in-person class versus a Zoom class. They're not even in the same league. They're good, but they're not as good as in person. So, Klaus, thank you for what you did on getting the in-person classes going. It would not have happened if you had not pushed and got it done and got it on the calendar and get it done. So when I looked at it, we taught 4 in-person classes, and they were pretty well attended. I was able to be an instructor in a couple of them. Klaus did something else, and researched through my records, and Dale, you'll tell me at the meeting tonight where I missed it. Since I've been in auxiliary, Division II has never been able to even put on the calendar a weekend navigator class. Klaus has got it scheduled for this September. So I'm looking to say, hey, that's great. Same kind of thing with boat operations. Richard Pinches is here, but he's not. I don't think he's in this meeting. But between Richard and Dale Vodka, they put together a good operations plan. The people up here at the board can see all the stuff that we did. All right? With what we've got 4 facilities, 3 coxswains, and 10 boat crew. We got 3 people that are working to complete their certification. Navigation systems. We got a small group. We got a couple people trying to work through to complete the certification. I'm one of them. I owe Pam some stuff on it. It's on my list. But one of the interesting things when I read the report, which is kind of unique to us, is on Lake Union, which is the main lake in Seattle, there's seaplane transportation system called Kenmore Air. And we've had a problem for years of boaters not realizing that is a runway when a seaplane wants to take off or land, okay? And I myself was guilty in it at one time, and I looked around and said, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong spot. Years ago I did that. So they were able to work with the active duty and what have you to get ATONs that could be activated by the pilots, landing or taking off. So our ATON group got the responsibility to check if those ATONs worked. So Kenmore Air gave our inspectors the remote to work to see so they could go out and check to say, yes, it does flash the way it's supposed to be, and yes, it is in the right spot. Nobody moved it. So that was kind of interesting for me to read that. The other one is the Alki Lighthouse. Deborah Alderman does an outstanding job on that. She's done it for years. It runs. We had, I think, a very successful program. It's open every year from Memorial Day to Labor Day. We had 13 members from Division 2 and Division 1. They donate every Sunday afternoon, other than 3 when it was closed by the Coast Guard for different events. That's every Sunday afternoon they're giving up. Deborah says we estimated we had 1,500 visitors go through the lighthouse. That's a recruiting tool for us. If you ask Deborah, that's how she joined the auxiliary, was through that, okay? The other one we got, I owe a big thanks for all of our PA events that we had. Dale and Deborah coordinate that. I just sit up at the top, and I got these people doing this job. We don't have all the, like you said, we don't have all of our spots filled. We got some officers doing multiple jobs, but they're stepping up and getting it done. I owe a big thanks to somebody else, again, for culinary assistance. Klaus broke a barrier and rebuilt a relationship that was built years ago, and we really didn't integrate closely with the active duty. They didn't really know what we could do. So Klaus, with our team up there of 3 people, said, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. We're gonna come down to the galley every Friday, and we're gonna prepare breakfast and lunch. And he did that so many times, they are integrated with the active duty. And what happened out of that, which we haven't done for years, is the active duty has change of commands at Base Seattle. Our culinary assistants, underneath Klaus's guidance, helped prepare the food and refreshments for 3 change of watches at Base Seattle. Plus the new Rear Admiral gave a barbecue thank you for everybody that worked at the lighthouse And our culinary assistants helped on that, okay? National Safe Boating Week, we talked about that in the immediate past. I wanted that to be a goal for the immediate past to do that. I give thanks to Deborah and Dale Vodka for pushing that through. We increased our participation in honor flights this year at every single time. National Safe Boating Week, that was the one we were talking about. Klaus and Deborah put that program together, and we had 12 mayors of different cities in the Seattle area sign a proclamation to promote Safe Boating Week. That was a 50% increase from the year before that. The other thing, the last thing I've got on here is the WOW website for the division level and also at the district level. He's not here today. Rick Myers is a technical guru that does technical, and Sally also is very technical, the two of them together. We struggle with that. We're not where we want to be, but we're doing a good project on that. Both of them, Rick works full-time for a computer company, so his time is limited. But one of my mottos that come out of the diversity PowerPoints all the time is, Mother Teresa once said, I can do things that you cannot do. You can do things that I cannot do. Together we can do great things. And my closing statement is, let's accomplish great things working together as a team. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Neil Christensen. This year it is my privilege to serve as Division III's commander. Unlike my colleague from Division I, it did not try and translate my thing into Salish. However, I just didn't print it. So, as I spoke about this spring, Division III is a division of quiet bread and butter service to our communities and to our Coast Guard. In the AOR that we call home, the South Puget Sound, it is true that our division has some communication blind spots, but also like the South Sound, we also have some of the greatest diversity of resources in the district. Our brag sheet this year includes successful honor flights and other public affairs events, members pursuing operational training to restart an operational program from scratch in the South Puget Sound, and recruitment in all flotillas on the division level ending up in the double digits. Leadership continuity for next year is already in progress, and for the first time in half a decade, we have a bench of new leadership that is ready to take on roles not just in the immediate term for next year, but for the subsequent 2 years. We look forward to continuing to meet the challenges of our evolving situational picture in the South Sound and into staying Semper Paratus. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
There's no one else from Division IV here, and so I agreed to give the report that I actually wrote the report too, although I want to give a shout out to Bob Hancock and especially Simeon Baldwin, who knew how to get all the stuff out of computer. Our RBS support, as we say a lot, is job one. And so I wanted to give you some numbers for RBS support in Division 4. 1,208 member hours logged in Oxdata 2. Program, 546 program visitor dealer visits. So I thought that was significant. Vessel safety checks, 473. Oh, by the way, we're located on the Kitsap Peninsula, so we can see Seattle, but we wave at it across the across the sound. Patrols, Cox and crew patrols, 406 hours, and that a lot of times had to do with things that were over in the Seattle area. Regatta safety support, 145 hours. Public education, 5 courses, 136 enrollees of all ages 17 to 72. And then a couple of other numbers is new members achieving BQ2 was 5, and member training courses completed was 132. So there are people who know how to get on the internet and figure out how to do courses, because we're just not seeing a lot of in-person courses lately. Expanding beyond our BS support, and we do that as well. Instructor teaching hours, we had 56 hours. Public affairs, we had 67 hours. And then the thing near and dear to my heart was chaplain support hours. We had 338 hours. That says something about the amount of running around that the active duty chaplain has to do and cannot clone himself. He hasn't figured out how to do that. And so he does reach out. We have ACS chaplains, auxiliary chaplain support chaplains all over both Washington and Oregon, and he often reaches out to us, and so that's really an attestament to that. For activities, I wanted to mention what we were doing in February. We participated in the Seattle Boat Show, which many other folks in North did. April, we had the Kitsap Water Festival. That's the name of our peninsula, Kitsap Peninsula. May, we had the National Safe Boating Week. July, the Edmonds, the 4th of July Parade. And then in September, these were all booths that we had, by the way. These were all booths that we set up at each of those. In September, we had a booth set up at the Wooden Boat Show. Major activities Division 4 has been involved in include continued involvement with Sea Scout Ship 1661 in Bremerton and assisting with keeping public boaters out of the restricted zone while Navy aircraft performed aerial demonstrations above during the August Seafair event. And I was a trainee and got to be involved in that. And now I understand why people that do on the water activities are really in love with it. It's pretty cool. So thank you for listening to the Division 4 report.
Good morning, I'm Kenny Kent. The leadership of Division 5 has changed. The commander transferred to another division, and so now I'm taking over the year. The first goal is to get to know everybody, figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Division 5 has traditionally been a very busy membership. The 9 coxswains and 13 crew have spent over 753 hours of on-the-water activities this year and continue to log even more. Vessel inspections completed by Division 5 is 1,175, and program visits to date is 2,803 visits. With new handbooks and procedure guides being released, I feel it's important to familiarize members with the new publications, make sure you get them right. Plan on visiting all the Division 5 flotilla meetings in person or on Zoom to get to know everybody. Become accustomed with receiving and giving monthly division reports.
recruiting and retention of members, increased membership by 10% division-wide, stress member participation in planned events, as well as training new program visitors and vessel examinations, certify additional operational facilities and add additional crew and coxswains, continue on to water operations and training with the U.S. Coast Guard, increase interaction between flotillas in and outside the division, both operationally and socially. And I have to do a shout out to Eugene Florence Flotilla for their outstanding color guard, as you saw this morning. Multiple crew academies have been organized and completed, producing both new crew and coxswains. We participated in multiple life jacket surveys, completed 4 burial at sea ceremonies, relieving the regular Coast Guard from that duty, assisted other flotillas in the required security zones for the Newburgh hydroplane races and Fleet Week security zone management in Portland. And I was respectfully submitted by Kenny Kemp. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Division 6 Commander. Division 6 covers virtually the Oregon-Washington coast from Tillamook, Oregon, up to about, well, past Grays Harbor, Washington. I got to sit down and look at what we were doing this year, and the first thing that I thought about putting this report together was, wow, when I look at the number of people that we worked with this year and the tasks that they've completed, I just am awed by our membership and the volunteer time that they put into all of the events that have gone on throughout the year. The commitment to supporting the Coast Guard, commitment to supporting our communities, it really has been paying off. We're seeing new membership. I know our division has 7 new members with another 10 in the wings getting ready to join up as well. The cool part of that is they're a lot younger than most of us. So I'm looking at those folks as being the auxiliary in the future as we train them up. And it's pretty cool because these younger set can get into the computers a lot easier than we could as older folks. They've already, most of them finished all of their core training. They're BQ qualified and getting engaged into some of the areas that we've got activities on. And it's been great to get these new members in and talk with them and find out what do you want to do? And we've been able to stand up some new things that we haven't done before. Just the telecommunications side, we've put together 5 new telecommunications facilities within the division. We've got 14 new telecommunications operators. What kind of drove this is that earlier in the spring, we worked with Clatsop County. They had a tsunami event for us to practice, and we did telecommunications with them and stood up multiple facilities and tested our systems with the county itself, and it worked really great. We had, what do we have, Ron, 6 members of our division included in that. Again, it's a great job, keep it up type of thing. I can call out and, multiple folks, our HR folks, getting these new members signed up. It's a lot of work on them, but once they get signed up, that work transfers to us, right? We got to be their mentors, we got to be their trainers and their teachers. So it takes the team to bring those people up. And so it's a great job. Everybody's doing those tasks as a team. It takes the team to get it done and accomplish those missions. So, and it's not just our division in that team. It includes all of the district leadership that we've been able to lean on and ask questions as well, and to have them provide some of the teaching and training that's going on to build our membership. So again, our focus this year has been to get out into the public, tell them what we're doing so we could get that new membership in. That was one of the things as a flotilla commander I talked to with our flotilla, what is the #1 thing you would like to see happen? They said, we need more members, we're getting burned out, we're doing the same jobs year after year after year. Well, how do you fix that? Let's get new members. How do you get new members? It's getting out in the public. So any of the tasks that we're doing, whether it be public affairs events, vessel examinations, your program visits, public education teaching, those are getting out to the public. That's getting the word out, what we're doing, how we're doing it. Hopefully you enjoy what you're doing, and so when you talk to people, that enjoyment comes across to them. They get excited, and they want to be part of that. It's what we've done a lot this year. So the keys to success for our current membership is to make sure that we are doing fellowship events. You know, we look at COVID, we were able to get together and talk with one another. It's key for each of us to plan those into the events throughout the year. What are you going to do to bring your membership together to enjoy one another, talk to one another, help organize and coordinate together? Flotilla meetings are part of it, but there's still other parts we need to do to build those internal relationships that are lifelong, hopefully, in friends. So hopefully you guys are planning that in the future for your flotillas as well. Personally, I've had an eventful year working directly with a lot of you guys, a lot of time with the active duty. So we talked a little bit about the numbers of people that are down in the Coast Guard. We directly support several Coast Guard stations. They're down 30%. Because they're down 30%, their mission requirements are over exceeding their capabilities. And so they've been able to ask the auxiliary to stand in and help in some different areas. So again, I'll talk about those in a minute. But we need to think about the kids that are out there working the stations. They're away from home. Some of these are new folks out of boot camp, and we can support them in personal ways as well as helping them support their own families. One of the things we do at Christmas, we, as the flotilla, we get the Coast Guard members to sign their name up on a list in what kids they have and what interests they have. Then we buy Christmas gifts for each of their kids. So when we have the event, we actually decorate a 47-footer with Christmas lights and a generator on there, and Santa comes in on the 47-footer. Absolutely, and the kids, they just love it. And then each of the kids gets a gift, something that they wanted, that their parents had told us that they needed anyway. So again, how can we support the active duty? Open up your eyes. Don't be caught in a box that, well, it's just got to be this or that. Think of ways that you can do it. We get out and we decorate their mess deck for the fall. We decorate their mess deck for Christmas because they don't get to go home. A lot of them have to stay there on the station. So our next steps are to finish out the year strong as we started. I'll talk about what upcomings that we still have on our schedule, but we need to inlay plans for the future coming up this next year. Now's the time to be putting those things together. Of course, we've got elections coming up, both in the division and the flotillas. So again, plan the new year and the activities, and you know, we're serving, I think, a wonderful nation, an awesome nation. So one of the things I'd like to kind of give you, so weekly basis. In the division, weekly, we do night HELOP support with the air station in Astoria. So every Tuesday night, we're out doing helicopter operations support. We attend muster at the station. I'm going to tell you, if you have the capability of being at a station, this is the way to embed yourself and get to know these kids. They get to know us. They know our capabilities and what we can do. And it's just incredible when we go in there on Wednesdays. They're over talking with us, asking what we can, if we can support them in different missions. That we're not out there begging them, they're actually asking us. So we built the rapport over the years. That's the way you get yourself embedded with the active duty and find the ways to support them. So we do weekly data entry to support the active duty at Station Cape Disappointment. We actually do weekly data support with Sector Columbia River. So again, these are some of the things that you may not be going out on the boat, or you may not be doing different things. You can do data entry, and the sectors and the stations need that help. We have regular culinary assistants now at the station, and so we've got 2 culinary assistants that have been trained up and are actually supporting the station directly. Again, since they're down 30%, most of the kids that would be helping in the galley, they don't have enough support. So we even have folks from just the flotillas going in and helping do the dishes. You know, just a couple hours on a Saturday or Sunday or sometime during the week, go and help them do the dishes. Helps build that rapport, but it also helps them complete the tasks that they need to do. We have watch standing regularly at Grays Harbor, and of course our routine vessel examinations. I know that our division, we have at least 3 members that have over 200 vessel examinations already this year. We do multiple public education classes. This year's been great. We've been able to do a Kids Don't Float program with the youngsters. We were able to get some money from a Verna Olner Trust Fund. We've handed out over 300 life jackets to children this year. And it's been great because the first event occurs, we start handing out the life jackets. The public understands that, then they start asking us to go to more events so that we can help hand out life jackets to more of the kids. How do we get involved? How do we engage? We didn't go and ask them. They came and said, hey, we've got this money. Can you use this to help support our local county children to make sure that they're safe around the water? What an awesome way to get our flotillas engaged. Be able to have that type of input from the community itself. So currently, we've completed, of course, our operations, dry suit leak tests, and equipment checks. That occurs in January, so this is kind of a chronological order of the things that I guess I would call our battle rhythm. We have the Triumph Memorial that occurs annually down at Cape Disappointment, remembering the loss of the Coast Guard Cutter Triumph and the folks that went down with her. We do our Boat Crew Academy in January through April. It's every Saturday morning. We've got I've got 10 trainees right now. We've got 12 crew member and 2 coxswains, hoping to increase the coxswains in the number of facilities. As you can imagine, doing, we're currently at 37 helicopter operation support, how much time people are out on the water. We need to have the versatility with the crew members. We do our workshops and our TCT refresh, and that's not just the operational side, but all of our workshops. We try to get those scheduled as soon as those workshops come out so we can get them completed and not wait to the last minute in June because we don't want our folks going into REWK. We had a big event at Garibaldi doing vessel exams. I was able to do a major presentation with the local Rotary. They wanted to know the history of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And so that was a really fun time to talk with them. We ended up getting 2 new members just through that talk. We have training support patrols for Station Cape Disappointment. Multiple coxswains and crews from the active duty were able to get their certifications completed and refreshed because of the work that we're doing on the water with them. They didn't have 2 boats to do their training. So we used our facility to assist them. We were the dummy boat, but on the other hand, then we turn about and we'd get to play with them and tow them and get that training in as well. Again, I talked about the Kids Don't Float class. We're doing work at the station itself on the physical equipment. We're replacing heating and ventilation systems at the station in the buildings. So, you know, what are their needs, and do we have the folks to supply those folks with the capabilities of your flotilla members? Had a big event at Astoria, vessel exam, Black Lake Fishing Derby, this disaster exercise in Clatsop County, our Loyalty Days Parade, another vessel exam at Netarts. We supported Armed Forces Day. Now I'm Hooked Fishing Derby, another vessel exam event at Garibaldi, Pirate Days at Grays Harbor. If you ever get a chance to get to either the Loyalty Day or the Pirate Days, What a fun time. We've got our public affairs trailer set up, and we're able to talk to a lot of different folks. So we're out there seeing the community, talking to them about what we're doing, answering questions, and handing out brochures. So it's not just what we're doing with that PA trailer as far as getting membership for the auxiliary. We've actually got multiple people set up in their high school years, getting set up to join the Coast Guard later years. So they're going to be we've got several of them going into the Ames program. 3 years ago, we had 6 fatalities on our local beaches. People from the city coming out to the beach, not understanding the hazards, and they got washed out to sea. Sector Columbia River asked us to stand up beach patrols. So we've been going out during the busy hot summer months onto the beach, looking for people swimming in areas they shouldn't where there's rip currents. It's been very effective. There's been no further fatalities, but the mobile radios that we have in our vehicles, as well as getting out there in uniform, appears to be paying off big time. We had a 4th of July picnic at Station Cape Disappointment. We barbecued for the station, let everybody in there. We've had 104 people. It was a great time. We had 4th of July fireworks safety zone support in Astoria. High water boat parade in Regatta in Astoria, and then when ramp duty starts for buoy 10. I don't know if you all seen the Columbia River, lower Columbia River during the buoy 10 fishing. It's flat insane. There's just thousands of boats out there all at the same time. We go out and do patrols, but we're also on all the boat ramps, reminding people to stay safe, handing out brochures, and making sure they put their boat plugs in before they put the boat in the water. So up and coming, again, the Battle Rhythm's up and going, so we still got the McMinnville Air Show coming up, the Sector Columbia River Great Shakeout, so earthquake drill support that we support the active duty in, Veterans Lunch support, again, our elections. We've got a Boat America class set up in November, another crossing the Columbia River, Grays Harbor Bar and Tillamook Bar classes, which is well attended. Usually have full classes for each of those. We've got the Santa gifts for the station's children. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Robert Meagle. I'm the Vice Division Commander standing in for John Mackey, which I apologize he can't make it. He's in Hawaii right now, teaching an AMLOC class. So his report is, thanks Dan Keeley, Commodore Dan Keeley, the district staff, Greg Hartman, and John Stewart, and everyone else that had a hand in putting this together. So thanks for everyone. I'm glad we're out here in person. And let's see, our division has 139 members, thereabouts, in 5 flotillas. Our primary goal for a division is supporting the flotilla's needs for promoting water safety education and related activities. The training needs for our members this last spring were primary in the areas of vessel exams and program visits. Rose Fest and National Boating and Safety Week were our primary focus for planning the boat show, a sportsman show, the 2 air shows, one in Hillsborough and then now the one in McMinnville, were events that were supported by Division 7. The McMinnville Air Show is next week, and the Blue Angels will be flying. Last time they were in Hillsborough, we got a ride with the Blue Angels. So that was a really great event. Let's see, regarding 7-3 led a beach cleanup events on Earth Day on December 22nd of April. 8 members of Division 7, and then 4 members of Portland Station Portland helped with that. Nine members participated in Rose Fest from our activities on the water, Mobile 9 Comm Center, and the Coast Guard cutter tours. We hosted a breakfast with the Station Portland. The CA team, we had to put up 2 canopies the night before. They were 10 by 20s, and then set up, we actually made the kitchen. We brought our stuff in because everybody knows that MSU, which is now Sector, has closed their galley, and the station never had a galley. So we put one in the parking lot for them, and we cooked breakfast for them in the morning. That was a very good event. So a lot of fellowship there between us and them. August members meeting included a hands-on demonstration of the Sector Columbia River Commercial Fishing Service Damage Control Trainer. That was a good event. That was on the base, and I have more information if anybody wants that for their training. The guy that puts it on travels all up and down the West Coast and does this training. So if you have a vessel or a boat, might be wise to attend that training. It was very good, very well received. 7-3 completed 270 vessel exams as of end of August. Unfortunately, we are losing 1 member to the active duty Coast Guard. He is going to Cape May next month. Braden, I don't think Braden is here. He actually joined the auxiliary back in December, and he has so many qualifications, it's, I mean, not funny. He has completed 5, I think, ICS courses. He has his Marine Maritime badge, correct? He set up the beach cleanup for his qualification for marine safety. This guy, the Coast Guard's lucky to have him, and I'm sorry that he's leaving us. 1 member completed Sector Columbia River Comm Center Communications Watchstanding. Jim Finsky completed that. So he's going to be standing in Sector. 10 members of our flotilla, our division, participated in Rose Fest. And we had a few from Kenny Kent from his division came up and helped out. We do have a new coxswain, Mary, and a new crew member that we just went through, Patrick Norris. He's not here. We're grateful that District Captain Kevin Thiel was a big help to our division. Our elections will be held Wednesday, October 6th? No, 4th. We are especially thankful for participating in dedicating new members of Division 7. Dedicated Flotilla Commander Nancy Kriegy, Jim Finsky, Ben Hendricks, Mark Monson, and Jason Young. And that's the report. Thank you.
Division 8? No, Doug Harris? No, Vernon's here. Yeah, but you're going to be giving us a report, right? Give a report? Yes. Thank you. You're welcome. appears Division 7 and Division 8 are in Hawaii at the same time. Not starting any rumors here. Okay. This is from Bev Hannibal, our Division 8 flotilla commander, and I'm going to read what she wrote. As the fall and winter approach, almost all flotillas are busy storing away their facilities for the season. Patrols are coming to a close, and the focus for Division 8 will go from operations to public education and public affairs events. The total members in Division 8 started out with 61 in January. We now have 66, and there are 4 more applications pending, so that's really good news. She had mentioned that bringing back the division from a COVID state of mind to an outgoing, thriving division has been taxing, to say the least. We're still fighting the good fight and striving at all levels to attain an active division. We started out in May when she took over. We had a change of division commanders at the beginning of our year, with only 2 FCs for 4 flotillas. With the district captain's help, hey, that was nice, Flotilla 84 held an election and successfully seated an FC. She worked hard with Flotilla 82 in Spokane to get a qualified FC for that flotilla. Many thanks go to John Sturr and to Brad Hooper for their help in vetting individuals. Flotilla 83 in Yakima became a detachment to Flotilla 85 in the Tri-Cities area. The FC in Flotilla 85 is working with the former Flotilla 83 members to get them busy and re-engaged. Many patrols at different events happened. We had the Coeur d'Alene crossing, a full Ironman on Lake Coeur d'Alene, a swim across the lake in Pend Oreille, Columbia Cup down in Kennewick, and a swim across the river. We also had some active duty Coast Guard assist us with Columbia Cup and of course on Lake Pend Oreille. We stood watch at the Outdoor Sportsman Show in the Tri-Cities, the Spokane Boat Show, the Wooden Boat Show in Sandpoint, and the 25th Annual Salmon Summit in Tri-Cities. These had thousands of participants. The Ant Station in Kennewick participated in an event as well. We participated in the 2023 Western Zone Open Water Championships, where there were 160 participants. The Recreational Boating Safety Week was well received in our division. We even had an electronic sign advertising "Wear your life jackets" on one of the local car dealers. The mayors of Sandpoint and Coeur d'Alene presented officials' proclamations, and 3 boating safety classes with 69 students were held, and all the students passed. Our operational area time over there is basically from July to September, Labor Day. But what we did in that short period of time, operationally, we had 130 missions in 361 hours. We did 583 vessel exams. We did 126 hours of member instruction. We had 402 marine dealer visits, and a total reported hours of activity of 3,842. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Being toward the end, it's interesting to see what things have gone on and that we're right in line with everything that's going on. We're all facing the same problems. It's nice to be part of such a good group of people. Whenever we start talking about our accomplishments in Division 10, I always have to start with demographics because it's a formidable challenge. Just for your information, Montana has 41 members. That's up 3 from yesterday. So we're growing as I stand here. But we have 3 flotillas. Billings on the east has 11 members. Helena in the middle has 21 members now. Kalispell in the west has 9. And we're growing. Billings Flotilla has 1 member in Wyoming. Helena has several members in Bozeman, 100 miles away. Has 1 in Idaho, which is basically closer than Billings. Kalispell has members spread from Whitefish in the north up by Glacier National Park, to Butte, Montana. Everybody's heard of Butte in the south, with one members in Helena and surrounding areas. So if we look at all this together, I can drive to Seattle faster than I can drive to my easternmost flotilla. In 2022, well, I started looking at focus, and good thing we have these nice reports in Ox Data 2. I started trying to focus what we have done, and I couldn't do it without looking at what we did last year. So our main focus last year was just getting ourselves out of COVID, getting ourselves starting to energize, and that's what I've heard everybody else doing, getting back to in-person meetings, getting ourselves out of closets. And so what our change in focus has been from revitalization to now recreational boater safety and support of the Coast Guard. And so I produced a little small table, and our numbers aren't surprising, but we only have 38 members. Well, 33 when this report was generated. So maritime, that's our main focus. We like to get on the water, such as it is. We had 42 events, 42 missions. But in those 42, we logged up almost 700 hours. That's up from 26 missions in 22. So we have 80% increase. We are so proud of that. Public affairs went from 2 events in 22 up to 14 events. Now understand, when we go to a public affairs event, a boat show, I have to drive 200 miles and spend 2 nights in the motel. And these are not funded by anybody but our members, you see. So recreational boater safety visits have gone up, but they're abysmal compared to you guys. Public education went from 1 class to 11. I'm really proud to say that one of those classes was conducted on the Flathead Indian Reservation with 100% indigenous people attending. First time ever for us. First time. We have, 5 new instructors this year? Now, you look at, again, we only have 41 members. So, culinary assistant. Tim spent 42 hours last year doing service on base. This year, he got to travel to Alaska. So our support of the Coast Guard, and this is basically the only way we can do it now. One of our new members, by the way, wants to be a culinary assistant and a chaplain. So she's changing her focus in her life to where she can serve other people. And we're so proud of that. Our 99 hours, about 900. Whoa, I can try to get my vice flotilla commander, vice division commander to fill out some reports, because that would double in one report. Our member training, which I'm really proud of. We spent 576 hours in member training. That's mission code 6 Alpha, 6 Bravo, and 99 Delta. That's almost up, 35% from the previous year. We've always worked hard on member training. And I have to give my thanks to my vice division commander, who wears lots and lots of hats. He's both staff officer for member training and staff officer for public education. Now, the advantage of that is we combine all these things, and they all one feeds off of another. And so, surface operations. Well, we all love to be on the water. As you saw, that we have almost 700 hours of on the water time. you have to understand, in Montana, we only have 5 months to do this. Mid-May, if the water is thawed, we might be able to get on. If there's not a drought and they raise the lake levels up, because we have a biannual tide change. Goes down in the fall, 10 feet, up in the spring. And it usually happens very fast in both instances. Oh, you have to add some number to this stuff. So by mid-October, we have to be off the water because our main storms start hitting. And I woke up Saturday morning or Thursday morning when I catch my flight, and the mountains had snow on them already. So that's what we're looking forward to. But we live for operations, and we get ourselves, and we pride ourselves in our ability to get out and help other divisions. And our support for Divisions 1, 2, 8, and 11 in our supplying people to help them do their operations and stay qualified. And we appreciate their help in inviting us in to help them, because it gets us into the water where the kind of water we can't drink. We have problems. Distance is just a minor problem. And I'll go on. We're going to change our focus a little bit now. Because we're getting out of the COVID and we now are gaining members, we can now focus on a 5-year plan for developing more instructors. We have, I think, 10 new people that want to become crew members next year. We only have 4 facilities in Fort Coxsone. We hope one of these boat crew will try to become a coxswain. We're going to do all the pressure we can to get him there. And he's got to pass the NAV rules test. We don't have any ATONs in Montana. We don't have lights that we have to deal with. In fact, a night operation in Montana is something that's really in the dark because we have no help from lights. But we do it. The other thing is, it doesn't get dark in Montana until midnight. So we have some of the same problems that how does Alaska do night operations in the summer? I don't know. We're working on the 5-year plan. We've got some new members, much younger than us, that have committed, at least verbally, to join us in the leadership. And so we're starting to develop a 5-year plan of leadership succession. And that's something that's really been missing in the past. So we will carry many different hats. I wear a whole bunch of hats. Dave Hansen, thank you very much for all your work and your genius in doing our public education and member training. And another focus that we want to continue is in our support of our local law enforcement and SAR units. Many of our members are members of search and rescue teams in the local. The Montana National Guard, who uses us for safety patrols for their helicopter operations, Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, and the Bureau of Land Management. And so put those in together with us supporting other divisions. I will submit my report.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. So I'm last, so I'll keep this kind of short and sweet. So we are Division 11. We are the Desert Mariners. We kind of give a little bit about our geographic area. So we, to the west from Ontario on the Snake River, Oregon, to central Nampa, Boise, Caldwell, to Magic Valley, which is Twin Falls, Jerome, and then down to the east, which is Pocatello, Blackfoot, and then kind of the central mountains is kind of Sun Valley area. So just give you paint the picture. So we are a division of one flotilla, the Boise Flotilla, but we cover a big geographic area, and we have people in some of those areas I mentioned. And so one thing that we have going good for us is our area is, the population in our area is really growing. The Treasure Valley and southern Idaho is booming, so we are getting member transfers, and we're getting new members. So I don't have the current update on what our number are, but we are in positive numbers. So we are increasing our recruitment focus. We have a nice new recruiting brochure. Jenny Shea helped develop that. She's helped us with our PA program and with the active duty recruiting office on that side of the program. Appreciate that support. We have an updated PA static display. We have a new Boise Flotilla canopy. So what our outreach is to get, we talked about getting messaging out to the public, and that's going to help us tremendously with our public affairs events. And so we also have basically we've incorporated partnerships this year in several different areas, and I'll kind of talk about that in the end. But we have not a whole, some of the struggles that we all face is similar to kind of ours, so I won't really go into those a lot. But we are focusing on one main event each month to ensure our staffing availability. We are focusing in on diversity, and we've done a really good job on that. We have really good support from our members, and like I said, we're growing in several of those areas. We are getting out doing program visitations in a lot of areas, and we've really hit our niche this year, and that's the the paddle and boating safety kits. And so I finally, my garage has kind of looked like a distribution center. We've distributed about 5,549 boat and paddlecraft kits. 4,736 were paddlecraft specific. So our niche in our area is paddlecraft. The rivers and the lakes, everywhere you go, that is the big thing. Obviously we got boats, but we've been really hitting the paddlecraft hard in our area with the Boise Water Park that we have, which was developed. The city put a multi-million-dollar water park in the center of the city, and it's every weekend there's thousands of people that attend that. We've created a partnership with Ada County Parks and Waterways. I think they had 150,000 water users using the river last year, and that was up like 30% with our population increase. So we've been trying to push those kits. Had a really good support on our members pushing the kits throughout southern and eastern and western part of the state. One of the problems that we just recently had is we had a quagga mussel issue that finally hit our state, which last week in Magic Valley, which is kind of the Twin Falls area, and talking to Craig, we're going to try to push, working with the state Department of Agriculture to get, this is included in our safety kits next year. We're going to expand on that program even more to push these kits. So we're going to be working really heavily this winter with that program even more. So just some of the, real quickly here, just some of the significant events that are PA programs that we've had. We had an air show at the Warhawk Air Museum. We're interfaced with active duty, and we had a really good PA event there. We had, so we talked about Ada County Parks and Waterways. We've had a table set up to provide the kits to people that are participating floating down the river. We just did a trash cleanup, or a beach cleanup, I guess you'd say, with our reservoir with the end of the boating season. We're just like Montana, where everything, a lot of people are getting their boats winterized, and where people are kind of shutting up things right now. But one of the things too is with the trash cleanup, we work with the Army Corps of Engineers, and that's a unique partnership that we have in our area. One of the things that we want to do is also, the partnership is just a huge thing, is with our vendors, law enforcement. With a lot of these kits, we need to really hit these even harder. I think we're only scratching the surface with kind of what we're doing. Also, we're going to be participating in the Veterans Day Parade in November, which is a really nice, last year we participated in it, and it's our first time the Coast Guard's been in that for many years at auxiliary. I think the active duty is also invited to that this year as well. So just kind of a recap, we're looking forward to next year. It's been an honor to be division commander. Great group of people. I really enjoy working with everybody, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Maybe give a 5-minute break while I handle the papers.
Okay, I'll go for that. How about just a very quick 5-minute break?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was supposed to do that before.
It's all right. We talked about it, and then we got confused with the flag, and I figured that's what happened.
Oh, yeah, I
That's all right.
would have been ready, I'm sorry.
No, thank you for being flexible.
Currently, you know, I never got a subdues given to me. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, last year I came to Pike and they had one set and they got me close.
Didn't you get a set from?
She gave me, so they could hand them on.
Yeah.
You know, they were not purchased. So I just submitted a bill for an expensive bill. You know, we've got to get all the comments for this, which I explained on Eastern comments about the distance that we have to cover. You know, I won't mention that we're into the hospital. But I will mention that, you know, we actually do have auxiliaries to aspects.
People know that. It's just, they forget
you don't need to give time for one-on-one to talk.
We don't?
No, it's all just in my closing phase.
Okay.
I'll throw it to her.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Also, where are you, is she gonna be at a table somewhere to help people on Sunday, or?
She'll be in the
Okay, awesome, great, thank you.
So, but I'll throw it to her, she'll make the announcement.
Yes, sir.
She does a great job. She is absolutely great.
I was gonna say you should promote her, but maybe you should clone her instead.
We lucked out there.
Yeah.
I've never seen like the travel custodians that what
And she does a lot of her work remotely.
We made a change, we will not have to bring our Hawaiian home. The commander will talk about that. Like, she needs for the owners, getting them in the next meeting, this weekend, his discussion. So we don't have to, so we just have to mention our calendar, and then we need to mention, one more thing, that is, we need to mention the calendar, and, oh, we have prom. Okay, yeah, that's it. I know, whatever else you want to bring. You know what it is, it's auxiliary time, 5 minutes is 15.
I will try. Get it done quickly. I do have one joke. I gotta do it.
It's cold in here, I'm like falling asleep. Like,
Oh, how can you fall asleep when it's so cold?
I love it. If it's cold, I'm out like that. I'm like yawning. And
You're live up here, so anything, any conversations you're having.
Send it to me.
Speak into it.
Would everybody please take your seats, please? Take your seats, please. Please take your seats.
Okay, now we'll have a report from the Ways and Means Committee.
Good morning. My name is Ephraim Krischer. I am the DSO Finance. I also happen to be one of the assistant district legal officers, and I finally found out what's the difference between being a finance officer and a legal officer. What's the difference? The difference is finance officers know they're boring. First, I'd like to thank the Ways and Means Committee. We met yesterday, and they were very helpful in putting together the budget. I'd also like to thank John Sturr, who has been very helpful over the past year, especially helping me with Excel, and today getting copies and everything. Thank you, John. The status of our finances, total finances are approximately $322,000, two-thirds of which are in a savings account. The Ways and Means Committee approved that we move $250,000 to the Navy Federal Credit Union to savings accounts, high interest, about 4.4% plus, which will earn us some nice interest over the year, and to put $200,000 in a one-year certificate and $50,000 in a three-month certificate. And the rest of the funds will remain in the district checking account. So I would appreciate a motion from the board to move $250,000 to the Navy Federal Credit Union, $200,000 in a year certificate, $50,000 in a three-month certificate, and the signatories being the Commodore, the Chief of Staff, and myself as DSO Finance.
I move to approve the transfers as written.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I think it would be a good move for the district, and the interest will be considerably higher than we're receiving and will be put to good use.
The only other thing I'd add too is the interest that would be accrued from the movement of this funds into the CDs will go into the district checking. So you're going to be replenishing your checking as we accrue interest. And it really is a good plan that pencils out. If I remember right, we were looking at potential earnings of about $11,000 to $12,000 a year on this money, which you know, you guys know from your own flotilla and division finances, that'd be hard to do. So I recommend approval.
All right, so call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Quickly, we'll take a look at the budget, which has been recommended by the Ways and Means Committee. The annual dues are, I used 840 members. We have 860 currently as of this morning, and but it's a little too early to know how many are going to disenroll before the end of the year. So I think 840 was a reasonable figure. The quarterly dues remained the same. We used the same figures as last year. District meeting increased the receipts and also increased the disbursements below 12,000 and 14,000. We don't have the final figures. That will change when I get the figures in from the meeting today. Some of the changes, what in last year's budget we labeled contingency, which we added in the middle of the year. We called it special events, and these were major projects like the Rose Festival and the Columbia Cup in the East and Seafair. We have increased the awards from 1,600 to 2,500. You can see as expenditures that we've spent 1,848 to date, and the cost of awards is increasing, and hopefully the number of awards will increase. So the Ways and Means Committee recommended an increase to 2,500. Immediate past district Commodore travel was recommended an increase from 500 to 1,100. And let's see, the color guard will be needing new equipment, and so the recommendation was to increase the budget from 400 to 600. The other items remain the same. So are there any questions from the board? And this budget was recommended by the Ways and Means Committee.
I move that the budget be adopted as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Any questions? All those who approve the budget as recommended by the Ways and Means Committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Neil, approval of the minutes?
I believe that the minutes from the last meeting were sent out to everyone by our very able chief of staff. I have received no corrections to this point. Did anyone notice anything that needs to be corrected? Then, even though I could, I feel it would be inappropriate for me to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We get a second?
All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay, any old business that we need to discuss? How about new business? Anything want to be brought to the board?
I think you ought to call up our new district captain.
Well, you know, I saw some folks out of uniform, Craig. I think we should do something about that.
That is true. I think we should. Perhaps
Yeah.
the commander would help us as well.
Yeah, Ron. Would you please come up here? You guys want to handle it?
Mm-hmm.
Front and center. Face.
Greg, you can walk in front of the camera.
Then you need to give him a little tap on top of it, would you? Much harder than that.
Congratulations.
DCAP East remarks.
Tiny and I have been stationed under the air conditioning vent. If we were underway, we'd be in pumpkin suits right now. Okay. All right. As you heard from the division commanders, the eastern part of our district is very large. It encompasses all of Idaho, all of Montana, and we feel the best parts of Washington. Sorry, Eastern or Western guys, okay? And with these long distances, it's literally 2 days to drive past. So what is necessitated, since we only have 126 members over there, is the cooperation between our divisions, not just our flotillas. And I'm happy to report we had that. The folks from 11 went over to 10 and did their on-water activities this year. They went over there for 4 days and did that. And in Division 8, we had the Columbia Cup, which necessitated boat crew members and coxswains from all 4 flotillas in that division to go down to help out Flotilla 85. Plus, we had another crew come over from Oregon to help us there as well. So not just within our district, but also, you know, within all 3 parts of the district. One of the other things that you heard is our shortened season. And I think when you heard the numbers and the statistics that we did, for having a season of, you know, in Montana, he was talking about May. In reality, it's probably closer to July through September. We do a lot of stuff. And I think it's very proud to see that and the cooperation between it. Already in our sporting goods stores, the ski equipment's coming out, the boats have long been put away, the PFDs have long been put away. So there are things that are going on there. I want to make a shout out to Harold Petrie, a member of Flotilla 82 in Spokane. June was 60 years, 60 years in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Quite an accomplishment at that. So once again, thank you for your time, and there we go.
Thank you. DCAP North.
As auxiliarists, we're only as effective as we are connected through communication. We just heard from the division commanders about the results, the products of our unit's efforts. I want to take this time to call out and recognize the people, many in this room, but others seeing this on our broadcast of these proceedings. These members I know I can rely on for me to effectively carry out the tasks and responsibilities of my offices as appointed officer or as District Captain North. It is the timely flow of information both up and down that aligns us in our common purpose. It is the succinct messaging communicated at the opportune moment that captures our attention and motivates our commitment. In preparation for this morning's gathering, I asked every elected unit leader, the FCs and the DCDRs within the northern area, to provide me in 3 sentences how they would describe their unit, sort of the elevator speech of how they would recruit or retain their members. Not everyone responded, but for those that did, I get a sense they get it. I want to recognize Pam C.K., Patty Maxfield, Jean Muir, and Kevin Kulam, Richard Pinches, Rick Myers, Jim Enborn, Bob Hamilton, and David Grant for answering this challenge and doing a really fine job of describing not only their unit's work, but giving a sense of the experience of belonging to them. There are so many ways we can connect through communication, but it takes the initiative and the availability of at least one in the party to reach out to the other. I know I can rely on Henry Phillips and Dave Hansen to not only check in on the local efforts, but to provide the right information to keep us going, knowing we are working in a common purpose. As sounding boards for one another, I call on friends such as Mark Hannibal, Kevin Kulam, Kevin Thiel, Jenny Shea, and Heidi Bredehoft to work out issues. John Storr for picking up the phone on the second ring most times. To help me complete my personal objectives, I want to call out Mike Allert and Tom Liebert. To integrate with the active duty, Captain Moon and Commanders Jansen and Jansen. To keep me on task, it's Dan Keenly, Deborah Alderman, Ephraim Krischer, and especially Craig Hardman. To be invited to participate, Bob Hamilton, Jim Enborn, Richard Pinches, Kevin Coulomb, and every FC in Division I. To do the heavy lifting, Dale Vodica. To transform, Norm Hoffman. And to stand beside me through thick and thin, Richard Pinches and Max Schneider. And to fellowship, Simeon Baldwin. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of the benefit of this last one. Simeon invites whoever wants to participate in a weekly Zoom call to catch up on things auxiliary as well as personal. That fellowship for me has been the gateway into the carryings on of Division 4, and they do a heck of a lot over there, mostly because they connect to encourage and support one another. Our fallback for when other channels of communication present barriers is the easy reports. Henry Phillips has this all figured out, and I cannot express strongly enough how useful these reports are. But as I seek information about what's going on in the northern area, I'm challenged by the fact that there's little reporting of our efforts through this tool. But from what I have gathered from these reports, as well as through direct communication, is that we as District 13 leaders have quite a number of opportunities to strengthen District 13. Quite a few of the people I just mentioned have come together to form an ad hoc task force to see what can be done about leadership succession. I want to again recognize Dave Hansen, Henry Phillips, Kevin Coulomb, Jenny Shea, Kevin Thiel, Deborah Alderman, Pam C.K., and Mark Hannibal for their leadership in this work. We've had 6 listening sessions with members exploring the possibility for standing for appointed or elected office, and we got quite a surprising turnout. On these calls, we have experienced leaders as well as members of the task force available to answer questions and give insights into what is involved in leading missions and units. We've gotten these emerging leaders over the threshold to willingness to serve. Now, before the next change of watch, we need to give them the tools to carry out their jobs effectively. To bring this full circle, I know that everyone I recognize has dared to ably mentor those who are stepping up. People in the northern area, like John Rose, who will likely be Flotilla 22's next FC, to Jim Diani, the likely VFC in Flotilla 41, and a host of others in the north as well as the south and the east. In the short term, D13 may have some resource challenges, but as any member of the task force will tell you, there is great promise for the future, and it all starts with being connected through communication. That's my report, but I talked to you about a transformative leader, Norm Hoffman, and he's mentioned that at our next D-Train, there will be training for Color Guard, and I just wanted to get the word out to all of you here, that you get the word out to your members who might be interested in participating in Color Guard. They're doing fantastic work, and Norm is an incredible leader in that area. Contact him with those folks that might be interested in serving as Color Guard in District 13. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Thiel, District Captain South. And since the last D-Train, spring and summer came and everybody in the southern area was busy. And as Jim alluded to earlier this morning, we're still not back to pre-COVID level, but we're working at it. And that's the most important thing, is we're out there trying and we're doing our best. And I think it really started for the southern area with National Safe Boating Week. And we saw VSCs and program visits come. We had a lot of public affairs events this year, and some of those events are going to continue into the fall. And there were also some local fairs and festivals that the division commanders mentioned in their reports. Fleet Week in early June was another big event, and Division 7 was very fortunate to have Divisions 5 and 6 helping us. You guys have become great partners in all of this, and we really appreciate you because you've helped us make that event safe and successful, and we protected those active duty, the Navy ships, as well as we've given the recreational boaters a chance to transfer through the zone and see what is a big part of the Rose Festival. In July, there were a lot of 4th of July fireworks displays, and I know our guys and gals were all out on that. The surface folks did a lot of training, and both as auxiliaries and then with the active duty. And we also had the Buoy 10 fishery start in August, and that is about a month in duration. It's a significant level of effort that's required to keep boaters safe, and that's sort of multifaceted too. They got the VE component as well as the operational component, so great things. The Color Guard continues to grow and flourish under the direction of Norm Hoffman, and you guys have made a lot of appearances this year. The program's growing. It's something I'm really proud of and I'm really glad to see. Fall can also be a time of transition for us because, as others have said, the boats are starting to go away. People at the ramps and boating activity starts to dwindle. But it's really a time for us to kind of refocus for a minute because we still got 3 months left in the year. And you got to challenge yourself a little and think about what can we do to make the most of that time. And when I was thinking about that, public education comes to mind. Member training so we can help ourselves and then go out and serve the public better. So as you go home, take that back to your flotillas and ask them, what do you guys want to do with the remainder of the year? It's a fair question, and I hope you get some really good responses and can take advantage of that time you have. So stay engaged. I appreciate all the members in the Southern Air for their many accomplishments. Your efforts were diligent, and your professionalism was remarkable. This is my last report as District Captain South. My term's over on 31 December. And I want to thank you all so much for the opportunity to do this for the last 2 years. It was a great learning experience for me. I had a chance to meet and work with some amazing people and make new friendships. Success in this job depends heavily upon the work and contributions of others. And I have to tell you, many people stepped up and helped me out along this journey. You provided me with information. You answered questions. You gave me advice and your thoughts. I'm grateful to all of you for the support and the kindness that you've shown me. Thank you. Be safe out there and be always ready.
All righty. Closing remarks, Commander Zimpton.
Well, thanks to John Stewart over there. Every quarter I get to see all the numbers that were briefed today. But there's a big difference between seeing the numbers on a piece of paper or on a PowerPoint slide and hearing them directly from all the division commanders. It's just a tremendous thing to hear and provide a little bit more amplifying information on what exactly you were doing on the visits and the support side there. It's great, great to hear. It definitely inspires me to see what you're doing and to know that the way that you're moving towards the future. Congratulations to Ron. It's a tremendous job you have in front of you, and thank you, Kevin, for everything you've done. You still have 3 more months, though, so. Some other things I forgot to mention earlier. The Admiral will be here tonight for dinner. He's also been traveling a lot this past week, and I think next month he's going to be traveling a lot too. So keep an ear out at your local units to see if he'll be visiting and try to take the advantage of seeing him when he stops by. And Dan Shipman, our RBS specialist, his last day is the 31st of October. We don't anticipate his billet being filled probably until next summer, just with the civilian hiring process and the timing and all that. So that job's going to be gapped for several months. And finally, I'm going to turn it over to YN1 Moley Poaching to discuss some admin things. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to be here today. I'm a big advocate of recruiting. I've been in recruiting for over 10 years. I took a couple of trips to American Samoa, and the last trip I went to, I reached out to the local flotilla there. Nobody knows your area except you, so I figured that it was a good idea to get them involved, and the numbers are getting there. So local flotilla, take advantage of our recruiting. I know we're short for about 4,000, and take advantage of that 1,000 bonus if you bring somebody in. So just a reminder. So hotel receipt, same thing I did last year. Tomorrow I'll be at the lobby from 8 to 10 to collect your receipt. You can ask them to print out 2 receipts, one for me and one for your record. As you all know, we're getting close to the close of the fiscal year. I really love to get everybody's travel voucher done on Monday, at least by Tuesday. In that way, we'll give more time because I have to amend everybody's orders. So that will give time for our funds manager to approve and get it back to me. Make sure that once you get an email from E2 that you have a voucher pending for your review, all you need to do is just go in, review your expenses, make sure that everything is correct. Go to the summary part. On the bottom, click release to me, and then I'll approve your travel claim. Another thing is QE requests. I would like for all the flotilla commander, when there's QE requests, make sure that to send it over to me a week before, a week advance. That will give me more time to get those orders done. And make sure that your member goes through the flotilla commander for their approval before it comes to me. I've been getting email sending from the field straight to me instead of the authorization or the approval from the flotilla commander. Another thing is when you contact SATO, make sure you go through SATO for any hotel or airfare. You don't just call the hotel or contact the airline and do, if you travel. Contact SATO. SATO can do all that for you unless, for example, for the D train, you can contact the hotel directly and make your reservation. But everything goes through SATO. Another thing that comes up most of the time is the airfare. Either you let SATO know to use your travel authorization to pay for your airfare, or you can use your own personal credit card and we can reimburse. Make sure you send me an email to let me know, hey, I used I used my personal credit card to pay for my airfare. In that way, you will get that reimbursement. If not, it's gonna go to the central bill account. Password reset. This is something that me and John go through a lot every time, especially now with D-Train. I highly pleased with a humble heart that you when you reset your password, make sure you write it down and put it in a safe place so we don't have to run in that problem. Hey, I can't reset, I can't get in. It's very important that you keep this, the E2 password in a safe place so you don't have to contact me or John. John has been a big help for me. If you have any question, if you can't get a hold of me, John, it's, you know, always there, and we work side by side with E2. Another thing is some of your members in the field don't have E2 account. Make sure that they go, I think Henry Phillip usually send me email for them to register in E2. So get their supplier number and get it to me so I can set up their travel account, because sometimes it's last minute travel and trying to get the member to get their supplier number in E2 and set them up for travel authorization. It's a lot of work to do all that. So that's my only admin stuff to pass, and thank you for having me.
Wow, what a meeting and what some fantastic reports. What is even better is you guys are doing it, you girls and guys and ladies and gentlemen, however you want to put it. Thank you for all that you're doing. And, you know, it does my heart great because I have a passion. And my passion is the work that we do. And it's the members, it's you. And it's your members and your flotillas and everything. And what great leaders. You are really getting the word out and you're getting things done. I think you've seen Craig Brown here too. I think it goes all the way up. He's part of the national also, matter of fact, part of the RBS. And you know, it's just the exuberance. We're all open. We're here for you in any way. But you're doing a great job. And what a great meeting and a whole great weekend too. So thank you.
Good morning. I want to start by thanking all of you for all the things you've done this year. I've been watching the numbers go up since the beginning of the year and getting very excited about that. I've reached out to many of you to ask questions and see what kind of support you need, so I thank you for getting back to me and responding so I can help you. As always, I'm here to serve you. I work for you. So if you do have any issues, any questions, any needs, please contact me. Otherwise, stay safe, and thank you, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
All right. Like the others, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being here. It's just absolutely a pleasure to be involved in District 13, and I just can't thank you enough. I thought of a way to get really rich a minute ago, and that would be to get a quarter every time that John Sturr is thanked. Let's give him a hand. Okay, well, we'll see you at lunch and tonight for festivities, and with that, I'll close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to adjourn. Second.
Aye. Thank you.